Good afternoon, sausages. Happy Sunday. Right, lookalikes. What grows together goes together. Yes or no? Sometimes it's death and sometimes it's dinner. Sometimes death and dinner grow together. Bastards! Why would nature do a thing like that? Just to keep you on your toes. We're going to talk about two plants. One is dinner, one is death. Let's start with the first plant. And to help us with that, we have me on Wandsworth Common.
Well, this is actually called an Alexander. Is it edible? Absolutely. The whole plant is edible. It used to be a very popular herb. It's kind of known as a bit of a forgotten herb these days. But it tastes a bit like celery. It's just a shame I haven't got a Bloody Mary with me. Oh, wait. As luck would have it, I have. Cheers. Delicious. And why is it called Alexander? It's something to do with Alexander the Great. Does Alexander the Great eat this? Did he cover himself in it? Did he shove it down his pants? No. Well, it comes from the Roman phrase, olus ata, which means black herb. Through lots of crap Latin teachers over the years, it's ended up as Alexander's, which sounds a bit better anyway. Off the stem, they have these three little branches of leaves, very common in the springtime. Also easy to recognise when the flowers come out. These big yellow sort of flower heads on there, which look like this. This plant is mentioned in Thomas Tusser's 500 Points of Good Husbandry from 1557. And he basically said you should eat this thing as much as you possibly can. But then this is the book that also endorses corporal punishment on household servants. So it's not exactly a design for life. Nutrition, it's very good. It's got fatty acids, carbohydrates and protein, and of course vitamin C. Also used for the usual smorgasbord of unlikely things that it can fix, like headaches, toothaches, body swellings, tuberculosis. Again, far too many cures for one plant in my view, but there it is. A dog just nearly knocked over my Bloody Mary. Awful, really.
Thank you, me on Wandsworth Common. Now to talk about the second plant, we have me in a river.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, death or dinner, it's death. This is the gangster, this is the bitch. This thing will drop you. It's, wait for it, Hemlock water Dropwort, the nastiest bastard around. This shit will drop you like a stone. Just get to know the shape of these leaves, get to know where it grows. It does have the white dome flowers when it gets bigger. It's death with a capital D, it's death with a dark hood and a skull face, pointy, teethy things and a big side. It's nasty and, I mean, it really isn't something you want to mess with.
Thank you, me in a river. Okay, so how do we tell the difference? Unfortunately, Hemlock water Dropwort, unlike its land cousin, does not have the courtesy to have purple spots all over the stem, so you can't use that as your differentiator. The first difference is in the leaves. Here are the two leaves next to each other. As you can see, the leaves of the Hemlock are much more frond-like, much more busy, whereas the leaves of the Alexander are more just standard leaf shape with a sort of serrated edge. So that's pretty straightforward. You've got to look very carefully. Secondly, Alexanders come into flower much earlier than Hemlock water Dropwort. They're out now. If you go down to Cornwall, Devon, you'll see them absolutely everywhere. There's more Alexanders than a school chess club. Which brings me to the third point. Although they're both umbels, and umbels are not distant cousins of the wombles, umbels are plants with dome-shaped flowers, white usually, but in the case of Alexanders, they're yellow. So if you see a dome of yellow flowers, it's not Hemlock, it's Alexanders. Also, Alexanders come out now, sort of early March time, whereas the Hemlock water Dropwort isn't likely to come into flower until much later, probably next month or beyond. However, when the Hemlock comes up, it's absolutely everywhere. Every stream, every pond, it will literally be everywhere. You'll come home from work and you'll find your partner in bed with it. It's everywhere. You can open your pants drawer, there it is. But only if your pants are soggy and wet. And if you've got soggy and wet pants drawer, then maybe you've got bigger fish to fry. It loves water, and so does Alexander's. That's why you find it by the side of the road. It grows in ditches, and the two things will grow together. So if you're harvesting, just like with wild garlic, don't take great armfuls of it and rinse nature. And just pick the leaves individually. Check each one before you do it. Or you might kill someone. If you don't think that's a big enough reason to not be greedy, then you might as well eat the Hemlock and fuck off the planet. So I was in a bit of a hurry last time. I didn't talk about Socrates, but you can't really talk about Hemlock without talking about Socrates, because that's what killed Socrates. Socrates drank Hemlock potion. Now, did he do it to kill himself? Well, yes. Did he want to? Well, no. He was basically forced to do it, and I think he took it upon himself, said, well, I'll do it myself, as opposed to being other ways of being killed, perhaps by being beaten to death by goats, perhaps by having a stone tied around your head and being thrown into the sea, or perhaps being strapped to a cart and shagged to death by a bull on amphetamines. I don't know how the Greeks killed each other, but I do know that philosophers and inventors and amazing thinkers really changed the world with their wonderful ideas, but they always seem to fall down when it comes to choosing legal counsel. Just ask Copernicus and Galileo about that. They fell foul of the same thing. Thankfully, they didn't have to drink Hemlock, though. Socrates did, and of course, it killed him. So, now I hope you can tell the difference between Alexanders and Hemlock. This is an important one. I must say, if there's one plant in this country that you really, really want to be able to spot, that is in itself everywhere, and it's the sort of thing that does kill people, it's Hemlock water Dropwort, and it's going to be everywhere in the next few months. So look out for it. You know, leave it alone. It has a right to defend itself. But for God's sake, do not put it in your mouth. Do not use it as a salad. Do not make underpants or nipple tassels or sunglasses or fake moustaches or beards or butt plugs or anything that touches your skin or your mouth from Hemlock Water Dropwort, because it contains gamma-conosine, and as you know, that will fuck you up. Thank you. This has been a public service announcement on behalf of the living. Have a wonderful Sunday.